It's been hot. Very hot.
Going back to the tent to dunk my head in a bucket of water.
Good news for some, not so good for others.
Lower levels of grass growth, crops are under severe stress, we've got animals that are feeling heat stress.
We're now in our 4th heat wave this summer, but should we be ready for even more in the years to come?
It's becoming more and more difficult to live in the UK during the summer season.
For many in the UK, it has been a long, hot summer, extending right back into spring. In fact, spring 2025 was the warmest ever recorded. Wildfires had already swept across Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England, a sign of just how dry Britain had become. So when summer started for good, the weather was already taking its toll.
They say it's best to make hay while the sun shines, but sometimes there can be too much. After one of the driest springs on record, farmers are feeling the heat.
At the moment, because of the drought, we're seeing lower levels of grass growth, crops are under severe stress, we've got animals that are feeling heat stress. So it doesn't really matter where you are in the UK, doesn't matter what farming you're doing, you're probably experiencing some sort of trauma to your business as a result of this really volatile weather.
The heat wave is expected to peak tomorrow, and with temperatures set to reach the mid-30s in England, an amber health alert has been issued, with warnings of a potential rise in deaths among the very elderly and those with health conditions. For beachgoers at Barry Island today, there were fewer concerns, just making the most of the sun, sea and 99s.
Honestly, it's been gorgeous these last few days. We've been going to every beach we can.
I feel like I'm on a little holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday away from uni, we finished exams and everything now.
It's nice to see people happy, smiling with what's going on around the world.
I mean, we don't get this often, so for it to hit 27 degrees, let's just get to the beach. Why are we hanging around at home?
The following day was the longest day of the year, and from daybreak, the sun barely stopped shining.
The sun rising on the longest day of the year and the hottest day so far.
Cheers, darling.
Other sun worshippers flocked to the coast. Around 4,000 were expected to be here on the beach in Broadstairs alone.
And you're not put off by the heat health warnings today?
It is actually like being on holiday at the moment.
It's amazing.
It is that hot.
When the temperatures get too hot, we will be going inside, go to a little pub garden or something, take some shelter.
Everyone's happy, everyone's glad to be out and just enjoy the space.
What better things can you do with these people you love?
But there were some familiar failings too. Train passengers in London forced to evacuate after spending hours stuck on board with no power or air conditioning as temperatures climbed. Another heat health alert came just days later, the public soon becoming familiar with the warnings and their consequences.
An amber level alert means the impacts of hot weather are likely to be felt across the health and social care services over the next few days. The warning is in place until Tuesday evening across the East Midlands, the East of England, the South East, the South West and London, with a lower level yellow alert in place in Yorkshire and the Humber and the West Midlands. The tens of thousands who have gathered for Glastonbury are also feeling the heat.
I've seen a few people passing out, a few medics called.
I've got my sun umbrella with me and I know I don't look that popular. Going back to the tent to dunk my head in a bucket of water.
In some parts of England, temperatures could rise to 31 degrees this weekend before potentially reaching as high as 34 degrees on Monday.
That Monday was the start of Wimbledon, the warmest ever start to the tournament. And as June turned to July, fears for the baking British countryside only grew.
Across 6,500 acres of East Sussex is Ashdown Forest, once a hunting ground for Norman kings. It remains a precious habitat, and on the ground, the people who look after it are getting more worried about the effects of the heat.
If I just put my hand in the grass and pick out some of this, it's just bone dry.
Higher temperatures for longer mean that the threat of wildfire hangs in the air here much more than it used to.
We've got about 2.5% of the UK's whole lowland heathland area, and it's that land which is home to these really specialist birds, butterflies, reptiles, and every year is getting hotter and hotter. So we have to be laser sharp every year to make sure that we're doing absolutely everything we can in terms of managing the landscape.
The highest temperature of the year so far, 35.8 degrees, was reached on the 1st of July in Faversham in Kent. And soon people began to realise this wasn't just another warm summer.
Baiting's reservoir has a capacity of over 3 billion litres. Today it looks more like desert terrain.
Well, the thin line of grass is where water should reach, but now levels are so low it has exposed this old pack horse bridge. Ordinarily, this is completely underwater.
And this is the reason why over 5 million households across Yorkshire have been banned from using hosepipes. Next week, another 1.4 million residents from the southeast will join them.
We know with climate change we're going to see more of these sort of heat waves, droughts, extreme changes of temperature, but also of rainfall. So we're going from drought potentially to floods, and that's something we've seen over the past few years. So we do need to change our view that perhaps water, it's not as abundant and it's not as plentiful as it always has been.
Millions were placed under hosepipe bans due to the nationally significant water shortages. And with harvest on the horizon, farmers bore the brunt of the multiple heat waves. The most famous among them, Jeremy Clarkson, writing on social media, "It looks like this year's harvest will be catastrophic."
Last year, this field was filled with thousands of sunflowers. This year, it is barren.
The grass hasn't grown. We're going to have to feed our cattle food that we preserve or keep for the winter. So will we have to buy more food in for them? Probably. Costs are going up. Wheat ripening too quickly, that's going to affect yields, it's going to affect quality.
And if you look in the soil, there is not much moisture in there.
At this farm in Gloucestershire, maize is struggling in the drought. It was planted to replace wheat, destroyed last year by an extreme at the other end of the scale.
So we had a year's worth of rain in 6 weeks. And so that flooded the fields, and the crop that was planted was flooded and dead.
According to the Met Office, these wild swings are now the new norm.
We're seeing extremes and records on a regular basis. And in particular, we're seeing the frequency and intensity of spells of hot weather in UK really quite dramatically increase.
July was the 5th warmest on record, and as schools broke up for the summer, families were doing everything they could to keep cool.
We've been loving the sunshine. We love being outdoors, being in the water, being in the woods, being at the beach. So yeah, love the sunshine, want more of it.
I've been loving it.
It's a bit more like Spain than Ballygally, do you think?
It is. Sure, where else? Whenever the weather's like this, where else would you want to be? Sure. Costa del Ballygally.
The kids just love it, you know, in and out of the water and kicking a football. And we're local, so we don't have too far to go home to the shower.
Oh, it's amazing. We're just out here having fun with the family. It's so gorgeous.
Just on the beach, in the sea, it's just beautiful. Blue skies, lovely.
We always enjoy it, bring the children down here. Great place to come, Crackton. Really good place. No, we love the weather. And the children love it more than anything.
Soaking up the sun. I mean, yeah, it's like I'm on holiday.
But it wasn't all sandcastles and ice creams. There were many for whom hot weather poses a much greater risk.
The elderly and those with health conditions are the most at risk from the heat.
The older bodies, they don't adjust really well to the temperature like an younger body, and also the sense of thirst for someone who is older is reduced, and that puts them under risk for dehydration.
There you go, my dear.
Thank you.
So care homes like this one are finding ways to make sure their residents stay cool and hydrated.
As soon as we get that heat wave, we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this fun? So the more fun we can make it, actually, the more likely our residents are going to stay hydrated, which is what we want.
By August, the country's tinder dry ground could no longer resist the effects of such heat.
Where high temperatures and dry earth meet, fire is known to follow. Today it was the turn of crews in London to fight wildfires, as England felt the fourth heat wave of the year.
Well, fire crews here have been dealing with what is an ever-evolving situation. We're stood about 8 miles from the Yorkshire coast in the North York Moors National Park, and since we've been here, we've been able to smell the smoke that's billowing behind me in the distance. It's about 30 degrees Celsius, and as you can see, the ground here is pretty much tinderbox dry. One of the big issues that we've been having since being here, though, is that the wind is blowing the smoke further north, quite literally fanning the flames of this wildfire. Now, fire crews here were initially called to reports of smoke in this area on Monday. By Tuesday, the fire was about 300 metres squared. Now it's believed to cover 5 square kilometres. That's why North Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service have declared this a major incident today. But this is the latest in a series of wildfires that we've seen in Yorkshire over recent weeks. This is an area, remember, that's officially been in drought for a number of months. There's also an ongoing hosepipe ban in this area.
Once more, the umbrellas in York today weren't to protect from the rain, but the sun.
A little bit too warm, I think. Makes moving around a bit of a problem.
It's like very humid and it's like melting.
And it's better than windy overcast rain.
Day 3 of the 4th heatwave this year saw the hottest temperatures in the north and east. But across the country, we're seeing records tumble and extremes becoming expected. In West Sussex, Christopher and Amanda have been growing citrus trees for 3 decades. Accustomed to a Mediterranean climate, the plants used to spend most of their time under glass, but not this year.
From Easter till now, we didn't bring them in. Usually it's mid-May we put plants outside, hoping to keep them out, but ready to bring them in if it's going to be frosty. But this year, we've never put them out so early and not brought them in again.
Climate scientists say extreme weather is becoming the new normal. The UK has been warming by around 1/4 degree each decade since the 80s. The 10 hottest years since records began in 1884 have all been since 2002. And this spring was the warmest and sunniest on record. Dr. Dioris from Reading University says we need to get used to living with extremes.
Adaptation is very important because we are already seeing it's becoming more and more difficult to live in the UK during the summer season because of heat waves. And it's not just the daytime temperatures, but it's the nighttime temperatures as well.
In high-end, new-build homes, air conditioning used to be seen as a luxury. Now many insist on it as an essential.
You get the cold air just runs through this ductwork here.
Lee's business is tripling each year.
I've been doing this for 30 years now, and when I first started, we didn't install anything in domestics, not at all. Now, I'd say it's probably making up about 40% of my business. So, you know, it's absolutely brilliant for us. But this is every year, especially in the last 8 years, it has just increased so much.
Thunderstorms will bring a temporary reprieve for some, but a yellow heat health warning has now been extended until Monday. Expect more sweltering nights in the short and long term.
For those who can't cope in the heat, the summer months are nearly over now. But there's no denying that the global climate is changing. Everything's getting hotter. Last year was the hottest year globally on record. Warm air holds more moisture. We have torrential spells of rain. We have long periods of drought. We have massive thunderstorms. We have unseasonal storms. The way that we produce our food is needing to change all the time. The highest temperature ever recorded in the UK was in 2022, 40.3 degrees. How long will it be until even that record is also broken?